Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. Today's video is going to be on the Mythic Hero class champion. So we're going to review the Mythic class champion, what are the powers that are available, level benefits. Should go similar to like the Archmage Mythic Hero video. So if you enjoyed it, you'll enjoy this one. If you're not sure of what that one was like, watch this one first and then go back and watch that one, because there'll be some similarities on the overall breakdown of this. Now let's find the Mythic book and put it right in front of me and get started. Champions on page 20. Okay. Recommended classes to take the champion are barbarians, cavaliers, fighters, monks, paladins, and rangers. The champion, your role, take fight to your enemies using devastating melee powers. You can crush your enemies before they even have a chance to harm you or your allies. Bonus hit points. When you gain a tier in champion, you gain 5 bonus hit points. They stack with themselves, so for each tier, 5, 10, 15, 20. As you go up to 10th tier, 50 hit points. Let's look at the table. Table's right in front of me. Pay attention. Okay, so champion strike you get at first level. Then you get a path ability every level, which includes first level, first tier. And then at 10th level, you get legendary champion. So let's look at champion strike. Select one of the following abilities. Once chosen, it can't be changed. Your choices are distant barrage, fleet charge, and sudden attack. Distance barrage is if you're a ranged character. A swift action, you can expend one use of your mythic power to make a ranged attack that at your highest attack bonus. This is in addition to any other attacks you make this round. When making this attack, ignore the target's cover, concealment, and other total cover, and add your tier to the attack roll. Damage from this attack bypasses all damage reduction, which can be very useful. Fleet charge. As a swift action, you can expend one use of mythic power to move up to your speed. At any point during this movement, you can make a single melee or ranged attack at your highest attack bonus, adding your tier to the attack roll. This is in addition to any other attacks you make this round. Damage from this attack bypasses all damage reduction. So essentially, if you wanted to be a character that's always on the move, or if you were the cavalier or a knight on horseback, that would be your most beneficial one to pick there. Sudden attack. As a swift action, you can expend one use of your mythic power to make a melee attack at your highest attack bonus. This is in addition to any other attacks you make this round. When making a sudden attack, you roll twice and take the better result, adding your tier to the attack roll. Damage from this attack bypasses all damage reduction. So if you're a barbarian or you're a melee fighter like a paladin or whatnot, that would probably be the one you would want to go with overall. Path abilities we'll dive into in a second. Legendary champion, which you get at 10th level of this class, or 10th tier of this class. 10th tier, when you make an attack roll against a non-mythic foe and miss, you may immediately roll again. You must take the second roll even if it's lower. Once per round, when you roll a natural 20 on an attack roll, you regain one use of mythic power. So if you have a player that rolls a lot of 20s, they'll recover their mythic power pretty fast with that. Okay, so first tier champion path abilities. How many tiers of abilities do you get? Helps if I stay just in the champion. You get up to 6 tier. That's it. You get up to 6 tier abilities. So first tier. So first tier abilities, you can select from all the tier levels you gain. but you only gain one ability each tier, each level. But if you get access to better abilities or more powerful abilities, but you still need one of these as a prerequisite, then you can come back and take one of them. So aerial assault, you could charge at creatures in the air or leap across obstacles as part of a charge. When you make a charge attack, you could expend one use of mythic power to include a single acrobatics check made to jump, adding 10 feet per tier to the height or distance you jump. So this takes away any height or distance limits to your jump. The only other thing that does that is a magical item or the supernatural ability of monks. So a monk would definitely want this, and some fighters would really benefit from this. Always a chance. You don't automatically miss when you roll a natural 1 on attack rolls. That's very good no matter what class you are. So I would recommend that one for sure. Always armed. You don't take any penalties from using an improvised weapon. In addition, whenever you confirm a critical hit with an improvised weapon, you can treat its critical multiplier as ×3 instead of ×2. But the weapon is destroyed. So bar fight breaks out, you pick up a chair, you bash a chair over somebody, you critical with it, it's ×3 damage, but the chair is destroyed. Makes sense. Very entertaining too. Armor Master. You don't take an armor check penalty or incur an arcane spell failure chance when wearing light armor or using a shield. You can select this ability up to 3 times. Each time you take it covers a new type of armor category, medium armor and heavy armor. Backlash. You strike back at those who penetrate your defenses. Whenever an adjacent enemy confirms a critical hit against you, that enemy also provokes an attack of opportunity from you. If you have used all of your attacks of opportunity for that round, you may expend 1 use of mythic power to make this attack of opportunity anyways. So that could be very useful. And that could be very entertaining too. You critted me, now you get attacked. Burst through. When you charge, you can move through allies and opponents almost as if they were not there to obstruct your path. You can move through the squares containing allies freely, but you must succeed at an overrun combat maneuver check for each opponent that obstructs your path to the target of your charge. If the results of the check exceed the opponent's CMD, you may move through the opponent's square and continue towards the target without provoking an attack of opportunity. That can be very useful. Clean Blade. Whenever you score a critical hit, as a free action, you can make a ranged touch attack to fling blood and gore at another opponent within 30 feet. If the touch attack hits, the foe is sickened for a number of rounds equal to your tier. If the touch attack is a critical hit, the foe is also blinded for the same duration. A blinded foe can spend a full round action removing the gore and ending the blindness. At the DM's discretion, creatures that are immune to disease excuse me, those that live in filth, such as Otyughs, or those that revel in bloodshed, such as demons, might be immune to the sickened effect of this ability. And I'd probably go with that. That makes sense. Climbing Master. You gain climb speed equal to your land speed and a +8 racial bonus to climb checks. If you already have a climb speed, your base climb speed increases by 30 feet. In addition, you retain your dexterity bonus to AC while climbing. You can climb perfectly flat or smooth surfaces, treating them as if they had a climb DC of 40. That is cool. Not as combat focused, but that is still cool. Crusader. Your powers and abilities draw countless followers to your banner. You gain followers as if you had the leadership feat. In addition, you add your tier to your leadership score when determining the number of followers you gain. Whenever you are within 100 feet of such followers, each follower can use the Surge ability once per day without needing to expend mythic power. The followers use the same die type as your Surge ability. That is useful. If you have or gain leadership feat, you gain followers from both this ability and the leadership feat, doubling the number of followers gained. that is very useful. One of my players loves taking the leadership feat. He loves the idea of having an army or a giant group of people following him, or group of people in a guild he has access to. That would be something I see him taking, especially with one of his martial characters. Devastating Smash. Whenever you attack a construct or object, treat its hardness, or damage reduction in the case of constructs, as 10 less than normal. Add your tier to the damage rolls against the constructs and objects. If you expend one use of Mythic Power as part of an attack against a construct or object, you treat its hardness or damage reduction as 0 and add double your tier to the damage instead. If you're fighting lots of constructs, or you're bursting through lots of doors, walls, etc., that could be very useful. I could see a barbarian taking that for sure. So next is Endless Hatred. You can expend one use of Mythic Power as a free action to increase all your favorite enemy bonuses by 2 for 1 minute. When you use this ability for the rest of your turn, any attacks you make against a favorite enemy bypasses all damage reduction. You must have the favorite enemy class feature to select this ability. So this is Ranger only, or classes similar to the Ranger that get the favorite enemy. Ever Ready. When you make an attack of opportunity, you gain a bonus on the attack roll and damage roll equal to your Mythic tier. You can make an attack of opportunity while flat-footed, even if you don't have the combat reflexes feat. At 3rd, 6th, and 9th tier, the number of attacks of opportunity you can make each round increases by 1. So this scales up as you get more powerful. So that can be very, very useful. Flash of Rage. Whenever you or your ally within 30 feet is struck by a critical hit, you can enter a rage as a free action on your next turn. This rage functions as the Barbarian class feature and lasts a number of rounds equal to your tier. You aren't fatigued after this rage. If you have a rage class feature, these rounds don't count towards your daily use of that ability. You can use abilities that require patience and concentration while in this rage, although you are still restricted when using your rage class features normally. And these rounds of rage don't count towards the total number of rounds of rage used when determining how long you are fatigued. Rounds of rage granted by this ability don't stack, but the duration is reset if another critical hit occurs. That is cool. That can allow you to get more benefits from your rage as a barbarian, especially more uses. Where Pathfinder's rage is different than 3rd edition D&D's rage. 3rd edition D&D's rage was you could rage so many times per day total, and those times, each time you had a pool of rounds that were the same each time, instead of a total number of rounds you can rage per day. That said, you never usually used up all your rounds in a rage in 3rd edition, so the switch to making it a little bit more limited didn't really affect the barbarian too much. Just some information from somebody that's played an older game of Dungeons & Dragons. So, Impossible Speed is the next one. Your base land speed increases by 30 feet. In addition, if you expend one use of Mythic Power, for 1 hour your base land speed increases by 10 feet per Mythic tier. A barbarian, a monk, a ranger would benefit from these the most right offhand. You could travel 30 feet faster automatically, so that by itself is really good. Then you use one Mythic power point, and for 1 hour your speed increases additionally by 10 feet per tier. So 10 feet at 1st tier. So you're looking at a barbarian, medium-sized barbarian. Speed starts at 40 feet. Gets this, speed's now 70 feet. Uses one use, it's now 80 feet for 1 hour while doing, say, a double move for 1 hour. He can cover a hell of a lot of ground. Put that on a monk that already has crazy speed. That is going to be very entertaining. I'd love to see a character with that. Imprinting Hand. By touching a foe, you can gain knowledge about it, including its weaknesses. To use this ability, you must first successfully hit a foe with an unarmed strike, natural weapon, or melee touch attack to make contact, then use this ability as a free action. As long as the target remains within 1 mile of you, you always know the direction and approximate distance of it. If the foe has any weaknesses or vulnerabilities, including a mythic flaw, you immediately know this information. You can maintain this connection with only one creature at a time. If you use this ability on another creature, your connection with the previous one is lost. Lessons learned is the next ability. Whenever you fail a saving throw against a supernatural or spell-like ability, you gain +5 bonus on all further saving throws against that ability, including subsequent saves against an ongoing effect or against the same effect produced by a different source or creature. This bonus lasts for a number of minutes equal to your tier. So cool. So the example they give is the fireball spell. So if you fail a save against it and then a fireball spell goes off again, you would get this bonus against that spell. Cool. Limitless Rage. Multiply the range, limitless range, not rage. Multiply the range increment of all your ranged or thrown weapons by 5 feet. And these weapons no longer have a maximum range increment for you. You can throw any melee weapon as if it had a range increment of 20 feet. This increment isn't multiplied by 5, but the weapon doesn't have a maximum range increment. So, that one's confusing me a little bit. Don't know if it's just my mental state right now, but that one's confusing me a little bit. So if you don't have a maximum range increment on your bow, and your range increment on all your ranged and thrown weapons is multiplied by 5, so if your bow's 100 feet, that's 500 feet. At least that's how I'd rule it if I used it, based on what I'm reading here. So my archer friend who plays in my game, if he got this for his fighter as his level 1 ability in Mythic, he's already set up to almost shoot a mile. This would allow him to shoot 5 miles. Imagine that. He can't even see the target he's aiming for at that range. And if he can see it and hit it, he can essentially destroy a marching army if he had the ammo for it, which he's carrying like infinite ammo generators and stuff like that. But he could decimate an army that's marching towards someplace just by raining arrows down from 5 miles away. And if he wanted to be a bastard, he could wait till they're 4 miles away. And when they start retreating from the spray of arrows, he still has a mile that they have to cover to get away from him. I like that idea. That is going to be very entertaining for him. Meat Shield. You can use a creature you're grappling to protect you from harm. If you're grappling a creature and are attacked in melee or range attack, as an immediate action, you can attempt a grapple combat maneuver check against your grappled opponent. If you succeed, the incoming attack targets your grappled opponent instead of you. So you swing the creature into the way of harm. Mounted Maniac. Your unstoppable momentum while mounted is terrifying. Whenever you charge a creature while mounted, you can attempt an intimidate check to demoralize all enemies within 30 feet of your target. adding your tier to the results of the check. If you expend 1 use of mythic power, any creature demoralized by this ability is frightened instead of shaken. The duration of this condition is dependent upon your check, as noted in the intimidation skill. So that can be very useful to mitigate a small section of an army. Mythic Key. As a free action, you can expend 1 use of mythic power to regain 2 points of your key pool. For the rest of your turn, your successful attacks with unarmed strikes or monk weapons bypass all damage reduction. You must have a key pool class feature to select this ability. Mythic Rage. As a free action, you can spend 1 use of your mythic power to gain 1/4 your maximum number of rage rounds, minimum 4 rounds. For the rest of your turn, your successful attacks while raging bypass all damage reduction. You must have the Rage class feature to select this ability. So that allows you to regain some rage rounds and allows you to bypass all damage reduction. As a barbarian, why wouldn't you take it? Mythic Smite. As a free action, you can expend 1 use of mythic power to regain 1 use of your Smite evil abilities. For the rest of your turn, your successful attacks against evil creatures bypasses all damage reduction. You must have the Smite evil class feature to select this ability. So like the Barbarian's Rage version, as a paladin, why would you not take this? Mythic Weapon Training. Select 1 group of weapons from the list of the fighter's weapon groups. You gain proficiency with all weapons in this group. If you possess a feat such as Weapon Focus that requires you to choose a kind of weapon, you can instead apply the effects of the feat to all weapons from the weapons group. When wielding a weapon from that group, add a number equal to your tier to your combat maneuver defense against disarm and sunder attempts made against that weapon. You can select this ability more than once, each time it's a different group. Punishing Blow. Any opponent you hit with a melee or ranged attack loses the benefits of regeneration and fast healing for 1 round. That is cool. In addition, if you score a critical hit against the target, it loses the benefit of its damage reduction for 1 round. A creature whose regeneration can't be surpassed or ignored, such as the Tarrasque, is immune to this effect. Okay, at least they took that into consideration when they wrote this. Sunderstorm. As a full round action, you can expend 1 of your mythic powers to attempt a Sunder combat maneuver check against each opponent within reach. Select 1 item on each opponent to Sunder. The damage from these Sunder attempts ignores item hardness. If you destroy an item in this way, you drive the shattered pieces of the item into the flesh of the wearer or wielder, dealing 1d6 plus a number of points equal to your tier piercing damage. This damage bypasses all damage reduction. So not only do you get to destroy their shield, weapon, whatnot, you can also deal some damage to them in the process. That is awesome. And the fact that you can make it against everyone that's within your reach is also awesome. Swimming Master, you gain a +8 bonus to swim checks, and you gain a swim speed of 30 feet. You can hold your breath for a number of minutes equal to 10 times your Constitution score. So that's cool. I've kind of had a sore throat for the week, and it's not like a bad one. It's just one that I've had a cough in addition to, so please forgive me. So next ability, Tear Apart. You can attempt to rend the armor of your opponent, reducing its effectiveness. Using this ability is a standard action that requires you to attempt a Sunder combat maneuver check against your foe. If the check is successful, reduce the target's armor bonus, natural armor bonus, or shield bonus, your choice, by half your tier, minimum 1. If the creature has an enchantment bonus to the bonus you choose, reduce the normal bonus first, then apply any leftover reduction to the enchantment bonus. You can't reduce the bonus below 0. Armor and shields damaged in this way can be repaired as if they had had the broken condition. Natural armor regains the lost bonus at the rate of 1 point per day. Lesser restoration restores a d4 points of natural armor bonus, and restoration restores all of it. Titan's Bane. You can move through a space of any creature 2 or more sizes categories larger than you without provoking attacks of opportunity, and you can share such a creature's space. When sharing a larger opponent's space, you gain cover against all melee and ranged attacks made by the creature, and it is considered flat-footed for the purpose of any melee or ranged attacks you make against it. That is good, especially if you play a small character that's for melee combat. Or the Ratman. They can occupy the same square, so you could get 2 of them in the same square. If they have that, they also don't provoke attackers of opportunity, moving into the position they need to be in to deal the damage. Uncanny Grapple. You make a successful grapple combat maneuver check against creatures you are grappling. You can perform one of the following actions: throw, crush, or swing. For a throw, you can throw at a target you grapple up to 10 feet per tier. Creature you strike a solid object from this distance takes 1d6 points per 10 feet. For a crush, you deal 1d6 points of non-lethal damage per tier. For a swing, you can use the target as a weapon against another creature, treating the grappled creature as a two-handed weapon. If you succeed at a melee attack against the opponents adjacent to the target, both that opponent and the grappled creature take 1d8 points of bludgeoning damage from this attack, plus 1.5 times your strength modifier. Wall Smasher. Whenever you succeed at a key throw or bull rush or reposition combat maneuver, you can smash your opponent against a wall or suitable large object. Within the range, you can move the target into the result of the maneuver, dealing unharmed strike damage to your opponents and the wall. If you expend 1 use of Mythic Power when you use this ability, this damage ignores the hardness of the wall. If the damage destroys the wall, you move the opponent into a space beyond the wall and it immediately falls prone. So back to the old Kung Fu movies where you knock people through a wall and they fall down. That is awesome. That ends our first tier, Champion Path abilities. Now we got our 3rd tier followed by our 6th tier. So 3rd tier, Destroyer. Whenever you attack, so to get 3rd tier, you have to be 3rd tier or higher. Destroyer. Whenever you attack an object, including a held or worn item, you ignore any hardness the object might possess. This includes spell effects such as Wall of Force, but not objects that are also creatures, such as animated objects. Elemental Fury. You can cause your body to erupt with elemental power. As a move action, you can expend 1 use of Mythic Power and pick one of the following energy types: Acid, Cold, Electric, or Fire. I would add Sonic, but that's just me. For a number of rounds equal to your tier, you are immune to this energy type, and all of your melee ranged attacks deal an extra 1d6 points damage of this energy type. On a critical hit, this extra damage increases to 3d6. I would also say that stacks with your weapon's damage if your weapon's already dealing that elemental damage. Fleet Warrior. When making a full attack, you can move up to your speed either before or after your attacks. This movement provokes an attack's opportunity as normal. So not that great. Incredible Parry. You gain the Duelist Parry ability. You may expend 1 use of Mythic Power to add your tier to parry roll. If you already have the Duelist Parry ability, you can use Incredible Parry and Duelist Parry in the same round, electing to not make 2 attacks and instead parry up to 2 attacks. Maneuver Expert. You do not provoke any attacks of opportunity when you attempt a combat maneuver check. As a free action, you can expend 1 use of Mythic Power whenever you attempt a combat maneuver check to gain the benefits of improved and greater feats tied to the maneuver. So, if you know you're going to Mythic early enough, you can get, say, the beginning of a maneuver, take this, and then you never have to get the greater versions. Maximize Critical. Whenever you score a critical hit, the weapon's damage result is always the maximum possible amount you can roll. This doesn't affect other dice added to the damage, such as from sneak attack or flaming weapon special abilities. For example, if you score a critical hit with a longsword, does a d8 times 2, treat the sword's dice as if you had rolled 8 both times, and then add any other damage bonus that you would normally apply to the critical hit. That can be very useful. A lot of my players like to wield weapons that do 2 to 3 dice damage, so and like to stack it where they can get ×3 or ×4 critical. So you can imagine the bonuses they would get with this. Excuse me. Penetrating damage. Whenever you deal damage to a creature with damage reduction, you can overcome one of the following types of damage reduction: chaotic, cold iron, evil, good, lawful, magic, or silver. You can change this type with each attack. This ability only aids in overcoming one type of damage reduction. If the creature's damage reduction requires a combination of different types of damage, you must be able to overcome the other types using other means. So having an item that can do most of the damage reduction overcoming, say a good weapon to fight something that's needs both chaos and good to hurt it, well, this would allow you to add the chaos to the weapon or to the effect. Precision. Your deadly attacks are far more likely to hit their target than those of others. Whenever you make a full attack, your attack bonus on the additional attacks you gain by having a high base attack bonus is 5 higher. This ability can't give any of these attacks a higher attack bonus than your base attack bonus. For example, a 12th level fighter normally has a base attack of 12-7-2. With this ability, the base attack becomes 12-12-7. This ability doesn't reduce the penalties from 2-weapon fighting or other situational penalties on attack rolls such as combat expertise, power attack, fighting defensively, or harmful conditions. You can select this ability more than once. Each time you select it, the attack bonus on additional attacks increases by another 5. Damn. That could really change how your fighter is looked at in Epic level, because in 3rd edition Epic Handbook, the maximum attacks you could get is 4 without taking 2-weapon fighting or flurry of blows and expanding it. So, but your 4th one would be no more than a 5 base attack bonus. With this, you could pretty much raise, you would need to take it 3 times. You take it 3 times, all 4 of your attacks are maximum. Then you take your 2-weapon fighting and apply its penalties each time, but that wouldn't hurt you too bad. That is one I would definitely take no matter what. Whether I take it a lot of times is up to debate. Depends on how much I keep missing on my last attack or 3rd attack or 4th attack. But I would definitely take it twice to get up there. But you'd only ever need to take it 3 times to max it out, so it is what it is. Titan's Rage. You can cause yourself to grow in size, becoming a terrifying sight to behold. As a standard action, or free action if you have the Rage class feature, you can expend 1 use of Mythic power to increase your size to 1 size category larger. This grants you a +4 size bonus to Strength and Constitution, imposes a -2 to your dex and a +2 to your natural armor, increases your natural reach by 5 feet, and increases your weapon damage based on the new size of your weapon. This size increase lasts a number of rounds equal to your tier and does not stack with any other spell or ability that alters your size. So you use Titan's Rage to increase your size, you use Rage. If you're a Berserker, you add your Berserk to it. Now you're dealing out a massive amount of damage in a very short window, and you have Reach. That is going to be very mean. Next ability is To the Death. You can shrug off wounds that others would find devastating. When below 0 hit points, you don't fall unconscious, but are instead staggered. You lose 1 hit point at the end of each turn when you take a standard action while staggered in this way. Next ability is Unstoppable Shot. You can use a ranged or thrown weapon to make a single powerful shot that shoots through all creatures in a line. My archer in my campaign, and I shouldn't say if, when they become mythic, should definitely take this. As a standard action, make a single ranged attack roll and resolve the attack against all targets in a straight line up to the maximum range of your weapon. So with the other one, where it has no max range, and he could shoot it up to 5 miles, you just need flat land at that point, because the only thing that could really affect you there is Are you shooting it into flat land, or are you shooting it where there's hills around? Because as soon as the background changes from flat to hilly, he's kind of boned after it goes through as many as it goes through. Roll damage once and apply that damage to each creature hit by the attack. Before making the attack roll, you can expend one use of Mythic Power to bend the path of the attack up to 2 times as it strikes targets or objects. Each deflection can alter the line of attack up to 90 degrees, allowing you to shoot around corners or cover. So, where I was saying the hills would be the issue, he could go up a hill and then he could go down a hill. But on the downwards, as soon as the ground starts to go back up, he would hit the ground. But that could allow him to hit even more targets than he was hitting before. Damn. 6-tier champion path abilities. So you have to be 6th tier or higher to take these. So about 6th level mythic, which is 6th tier mythic. Critical Master is the first one listed. Whenever you roll a critical threat against a non-mythic creature, you automatically confirm the critical hit and deal the maximum amount of damage to that creature. This ability can be selected twice. The second time it is selected, it also applies to mythic creatures. So you can affect non-mythic creatures with this ability the first time you take it, and mythic creatures with it the second time. Worth taking twice. Fistful of Daggers. When you could make a full attack with thrown weapons, you can instead make a single attack roll at your highest attack bonus and apply the results to any number of creatures within 30-foot cone. Roll damage once and deal it to all creatures hit by the attack. This attack can't deal precision damage or your sneak attack. You must throw one weapon at each target. Use the bonus to attack and damage from the least powerful weapon thrown. For example, if you have a +2 dagger and 20 masterwork daggers, the attacks are treated as the masterwork daggers. Apply any effects of concealment for individual targets as normal. If the attack roll is a critical threat, choose one target you hit and attempt to confirm the critical against that target. Perfect Strike. You could expend one use of Mythic Power as a standard action to deliver a Perfect Strike. A Perfect Strike attack is made using your full attack bonus. Excuse me. If the attack hits, it deals double the normal amount of damage, and this damage bypasses all damage reduction and hardness. If the Perfect Strike is a critical hit, increase the critical multiplier for the attack by 1, so a ×2 weapon deals ×3 damage. Damage that isn't multiplied on a critical hit isn't multiplied on a Perfect Strike. Perfect Strikes can be used in conjunction with any champion strike if you expend use of Mythic Power for each ability separately. Next ability is Shatter Spells. You can destroy a magical effect, whether it's on a creature or an independent effect such as a wall of fire, by attacking it with an unarmed strike or a natural weapon. You must succeed at a melee touch attack against the creature or affect the expended one using the Mythic Power. If this attack hits the creature or effect of the subject, or effect of the Mythic Power, if this attack hits the creature effect of the subject, target the greater dispel magic using double your tier as your caster level. If you dispel the effect, you suffer no harmful effects from touching it. If the effect is on a creature, the creature takes 1 point of damage per spell level of each effect dispelled. Sweeping Strike. Even when you're swarmed, your foes are not safe from danger. Whenever you could make a full attack, you may instead make a single attack at your highest attack bonus and apply the results to all opponents within your reach. Roll damage once and apply it to all opponents hit by the attack. This attack can't deal precision damage. If the attack roll is a critical threat, choose one target to hit that you hit and attempt to confirm a critical against that target. Okay, and that is the last one out of the champion mythic hero. So, a lot of those abilities were very entertaining and very cool. if I was creating one, the ones that stood out to me, other than the archer ones, because I have an archer in my campaign right now, my characters tend to be melee oriented, so I'd pick the melee ones. If I was a barbarian, I'd pick the rage ones, of course, but the other melee benefits were very, very sweet. If you've seen a champion played, Mythic champion, or seen one build and used for a very short time, or even built one, what would you have done different? Put them in the comments below. Well, until we meet again.